Here are some additional sources and updates on the role of the West in creating and building the Soviet Union. Gary Allen's book, None Dare Call It Conspiracy, gives a general overview of how globalist financiers have made use of communism to enrich and empower themselves. Wall Street and the Russian Revolution, 1905 to 1925, by Richard B. Spence, lays out in considerable detail the interactions between a vast number of Western financiers and businessmen and their corporations with Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, and other important Soviet communists. Professor Sutton's Wall Street and FDR explains how the New Deal was thought up by American financiers, implemented by them, and how it spread corporate communism both domestically and internationally. Joe Plummer's very detailed and thorough series of talks on Carroll Quigley's Tragedy and Hope add further very useful insights and information to the subject. The master conspirator, that is, truthful historian Eustace Mullins, remains to this day the best source for a realistic understanding of American politics and society. The world order is most relevant to our study of the Soviet Union, whilst Murder by Injection, another of his books, is obviously especially germane to our present reality. I have also found a picture of Julius Hammer, which I hadn't been able to access previously, so I have added that as well as a picture of his son, Armand Hammer. Some more information concerning how the Americans did nothing to help the White Army against the Bolsheviks in Russia during the 1917 to 1920 period has come to light. Colonel William Donovan, the first head of the OSS, the predecessor to the CIA, was sent to Siberia and failed to recommend recognizing and helping the whites. With American support going to the Red Army via Trotsky, the Reds inevitably triumphed. Faustian Bargain, the Soviet-German Partnership and the Origins of the Second World War by Ian Johnson, is a recent book on the relationship between post-World War I Germany and the Soviet Union, which is relevant to this video and may be of interest to some. The trouble with doing an update is that there is no end to the additional relevant information that can be found. Hopefully this will be the last of the extra material for this video. Of most interest to me is the information given in a video entitled The American Invasion of Siberia in 1918 from the YouTube channel Tales of the American Empire. At the 3-minute and 20-second mark, the narrator mentions that the Americans shipped locomotives and rail cars to Vladivostok. These trains were used to transport the American arms, ammunition and war supplies from Vladivostok to Trotsky and the Red Army fighting many thousands of kilometers to the west. Many of the Red and White Army fighting groups were nothing but bandits and brigands who attacked and stole from anyone they felt they could profit from, usually the local peasants. Hence some Red Army forces did attack the Americans in the Archangel region and in the east, but the US forces did everything they could to avoid and withdraw from such conflicts, as the video explains. Warographics also has some relevant information on the delicate balancing act that the US forces were faced with in trying to appear that they were in Russia to oppose the Red Army and to assist the White Army, without actually doing either. Mega Projects once again does a good job in showing how Western firms built the Soviet economy. In this case, it details the role of metropolitan vicars and engineers and designers from the London Underground who were responsible for constructing the famous Moscow Metro and training Soviet workers and engineers to continue expanding the system over many later decades. Anthony Sutton adds some details about non-British involvement in the Moscow Metro. Another matter of interest, to me at least, is the use of the term parasitic commissar nannies in a quote from an anarchistic libertarian opponent of the Bolsheviks way back in 1920. Even before the Soviet communists had taken power, there were some politically astute people who understood the true nature of communism. There are a number of sources that claim that the USA did not drop nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that they used conventional bombing mixed with various chemicals such as mustard gas and napalm. I do not know if their assertions are accurate, but both sources mentioned provide relevant information to support their claims. The call by many physicists to create a one-world government is also of interest and relevance. Even though this update relates to the US role in the Soviet Union, I have decided to include some information on the video I later made concerning the United States and Mao's communism. This concerns information on the role of the US Marines in China from 1854 to 1949, also from the YouTube channel Tales of the American Empire.